I've had conversations with people about it, and it's like, Jesus, like just trying to get the documents, like when they're trying to get the Epstein files, like the state of New York, one of the district attorneys was hiding documents that have forced them to give documents. I think there's so many powerful people that are on those lists. There's so many powerful people that went and partied. Air quotes, partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh, yeah.
Trials. Wild.
With Ghislaine, with Epstein, with Diddy. Either Diddy's going to commit suicide, either he's going to be hiding somewhere that we won't hear about for many, many years, or he's going to be O.J. Simpson, and he'll be released and said, I told you I was as innocent. I told you nothing happened. I told you I was this. Or he's going to go to jail and spend the rest of his life in jail. Not likely, because he has access to a lot of information on a lot of people that make a lot of money for people in Hollywood. Do they want those people to be gone?
For years now, she's existed inside a cozy little ideological bubble. A daytime utopia where jokes pass for journalism, where half-baked claims go unchallenged, and where the audience claps on cue like wind-up toys. It's an echo chamber with studio lights. And to be fair, it worked, until Charlie Kirk decided he wasn't going to let these on-air TED Talks pass for intelligent debate anymore. Charlie, known more for his rapid-fire podcasting than for storming mainstream TV palaces, didn't just push back, he launched a full-on intellectual siege. It wasn't theatrical. It wasn't planned. It was just him, his Mick, and a metaphorical sword made of research and receipts. And let's be clear, he didn't even sit across from Whoopi in person. He never needed to. His words traveled farther than any studio guest ever could.
Is not just about sex trafficking, one victim, and it's just about more than sex trafficking. The RICO, feds are accusing him of multiple acts of kidnapping, arson, witness tampering, bribery, forced labor, intent to distribute narcotics, and more.
The case against Sean Diddy Combs is unraveling at breakneck speed. With each passing day, bombshell revelations emerge, and more high-profile names, starting with Cassie Ventura, are dragged into the chaos. What began as a personal lawsuit has cracked open something far darker. This isn't just about misconduct anymore. It's beginning to look like a vast web of control, secrecy, and exploitation. So much so that comparisons to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal are no longer whispers, they're warnings.
Who he resigns December of 2024. He says, no, I'm not going to be dealing with this case on Epstein. And he's been on the Epstein, on Diddy, and he's been on the lead prosecutor for Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and a lot of other things. And then the person that replaces the lead prosecutor to prosecute Diddy is Maureen Comey. Maureen Comey is the daughter of James Comey. James Comey, just a week ago, posted 8647. He found these beautiful shells, seashells that says 86 accidentally. Of course, he would never do such a thing. And he posts these 8647 shells, and then his daughter is the lead prosecutor for Diddy. And Diddy has all this information to us.
Diddy's case has dominated headlines for months, but it's now veering into darker, more sinister territory. As the investigation deepens, it's becoming clear he may not have been operating alone. Whispers of a powerful hidden network are growing louder, one possibly shielding him from scrutiny. Is there a protective force lurking in the shadows? Will they save him or sacrifice him when the heat gets too high? Adding to the intrigue, Patrick Bet-David PBD drew attention to a disturbing coincidence. The lead prosecutor on the case is the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, who recently made headlines himself after a cryptic remark some interpreted as a veiled threat against Donald Trump. Meanwhile, former prosecutor Damian Williams quietly exited the case. Was he pushed? And if so, by whom?
Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settled out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court. While details still remain sealed, the settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 to 2024, 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer, forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any accusations. All we know is Could this have been a protect?
PBD didn't stop there. He questioned whether Diddy's long-standing relationship with Diageo, the liquor conglomerate, was more than just business. Could this have been the source of his protection all along? Despite over 17 years of disturbing allegations, no serious legal action stuck. Was that luck, or was Diddy being shielded?
Where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and are like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing is kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here. The only thing that the timing's kind of crazy is January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember what we're sitting there doing and minding our own business? And you hear, March of 2024, the feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home. For what?
After Cassie's lawsuit and a confidential settlement with Diageo, that alleged protection vanished. Just 2 months later, Diddy's mansion was raided by federal agents. The timing is hard to ignore. Was Diageo acting as Diddy's silent armor? And once that deal fell apart, did his enemies in the shadows decide it was finally time to take him down?
Had conversations with people about it, and it's like, Jesus, like just trying to get the documents, like when they're trying to get the Epstein files, like they're the state of New York. One of the district attorneys was they were hiding documents that have forced them to get documents. I think there's so many fucking powerful people that are on those lists. There's so many powerful people that went in part.
Even Joe Rogan couldn't keep quiet. On his podcast, he echoed growing suspicions that powerful forces may be controlling the narrative. Rogan drew a stark comparison to the Epstein case, pointing out how even district attorneys were complicit in covering up the crimes of the elite. Are we witnessing the same playbook?
Air quotes party. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh, yeah.
Trials. Wild.
Rogan didn't mince words. He said if the accusations hold up, Diddy could spend the rest of his life behind bars. But then came the ominous twist. Rogan warned that this might end. Just like the Epstein case, scandalous headlines, shocking allegations, and then silence. Despite Epstein's ties to global elites, no one of real power was held accountable. Is Diddy's case heading down the same road?
He's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get
Think he's
hit up.
saying though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters. I mean, a lot of it is.
But then it's just another Epstein.
There's
It's another
murder
Ghislaine
cases.
Maxwell,
But
where
there's
somebody
murder
gets indicted
cases.
and nobody else. Indicted for trafficking kids to
Right.
No.
To
Rogan went even further, questioning whether Diddy was the real architect behind the alleged operation. Could one man really organize such a vast, secretive system complete with drugs, coerce celebrities, and hours-long freak-offs? Rogan hinted that Diddy may not have been running the show alone, or worse, that he was taking orders.
Now, if that's not an intelligence agency operation, it's just an evil super genius who figures out how to compromise everybody by providing this crazy freak-off party. Everybody's got to put their phones away. Okay, we're going to put our phone away. No one's going to know anything. Yeah, I mean, he's going to get cameras everywhere. It's just one guy doing that. What a diabolical human being.
Yeah.
He seems pretty diabolical.
He's probably working with somebody or for somebody.
Maybe.
And maybe he just got too far out there.
Some of it came out in the trial, though. Like, he's forcing his girlfriend to have sex with prostitutes while he was sitting there jacking off with a bandana on. She'd rub the jizz on his nipples. Like, what are we even talking about?
In fact, Rogan floated a terrifying theory. What if these parties were part of a deliberate system of control? Get the rich and famous in a room, normalize the chaos, film them crossing the line, and use that footage for blackmail. According to Rogan, this wasn't about pleasure, it was about power. And Diddy may have been a cog in a much darker machine designed to compromise and control celebrities for life.
Well, it would be a
'Cause he had the
great way
juice
to,
on a lot of
compromise celebrities. Yeah.
Yeah.
And get them to say whatever you want them to do, get them to do whatever projects you'd like them to do. And, you know, if you're a bunch of other celebrities are there, you're like, oh, look, Bill Clinton's here. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is cool. Look at this. Like, Brad Pitt's here. Well, this is cool. You don't even think there's anything wrong with being there. Meanwhile, you're getting drugged up and filmed. And then they're passing out punch. Have some punch, Aaron. And you have some punch, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling really good. I just feel amazing. You're all mollied up. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Probably a combination of things they give you.
And it's all being filmed.
While many speculate that someone bigger is lurking behind Diddy, The trial testimony alone is disturbing enough. One male witness, identifying himself as a sex worker, shocked the courtroom when he testified that he was hired multiple times to have sex with Cassie Ventura while Diddy watched from the shadows. The revelation left jaws on the floor.
From a man who described himself as managing a male review show from 2012 to 2013, says his boss called him to go to a hotel in Manhattan where he met Cassie Ventura at the door. He says she was dressed in a red wig, red lingerie, and essentially gave him $4,000 with the intent that he was going to have sex with her. He also noted that Sean Combs, he said that first encounter was off to the side and watched Cassie Ventura and this male review show manager have sex and masturbated as it was happening.
The witness claimed these encounters weren't brief, they span hours, sometimes up to 10. Most disturbingly, he alleged that Diddy personally filmed many of them, using his phone or a camcorder. This wasn't just voyeurism, it was documentation. The court fell silent as even veteran attorneys struggled to hide their shock.
He talked about several instances where he would have sex with Cassie Ventura and that Sean Combs would be off in the corner watching. He said sometimes these meetings would last anywhere from an hour to 10 hours, and even said that Sean Combs recorded some of this on his cell phone or a camcorder. The beginning of opening statements, though, really focused on what this case is about, according to the prosecution, which is sex trafficking and racketeering, saying that Sean Combs led a criminal enterprise so that he could partake in sexual acts with people based on coercion and bribery, kidnapping, etc.
As court proceedings heated up, unexpected names surfaced. The defense introduced Kid Cudi and Michael B. Jordan, insinuating that Cassie may have had personal relationships with them. They suggested these connections may have sparked deep jealousy, and did a jealousy that festered behind the scenes and helped trigger the downward spiral.
Andy, about other celebrities and if other names were going to be brought into this. Well, yeah, we heard today about Kid Cudi and jealousy issues with Kid Cudi and Cassie being together and hooking up. We heard about Michael B. Jordan and Cassie possibly having a relationship that angered Diddy. So again, there was these themes of distrust and of cheating in the relationship that seemed to go both ways.
The defense doubled down, accusing Cassie of cheating specifically with Kid Cudi. They focused on a particular freak-off as a pivotal moment in the case. According to their timeline, Diddy discovered the alleged affair during that session. The betrayal, they claimed, caused him to snap, resulting in a violent altercation with Cassie that set off the entire chain of events.
Point that's been important is this relationship with a man by the name of Kid Cudi, in which Cassie, according to the testimony, was taking part in one of these freak-offs when Sean Combs found out that she was, quote unquote, cheating on him with this man you're looking at right here, Kid Cudi. She was in one of those freak-offs, and then Sean got a hold of her phone and then realized that they had been having a relationship together, and she said that that did not go over very well, to say the least. So one of the other things that defense counsel has been saying back and forth with Cassie, when Cassie is responding with things like, I can't recall, it's a long time ago, at one point defense counsel said, yeah, it was a long time ago, and it sounds like you were doing a lot of drugs.
David James, Diddy's former assistant, also took the stand, and what he revealed left the courtroom in stunned disbelief. On his first day, HR reportedly told him, "This is Diddy's kingdom. We're all here to serve him." That wasn't just a warning, it was a declaration. And according to David, life inside Diddy's world only got darker from there.
He also testified about an exchange he had with Ventura in which he talked to her about leaving this chaotic, crazy lifestyle. And Ventura told him, James testified, that she couldn't leave because Combs was in charge of her career and her money and her apartment, and so she couldn't leave. He'll be back on the witness stand tomorrow. It was interesting, when he was leaving the courtroom, he looked over at Combs, he nodded at him, and Combs nodded back toward him. So this testimony clearly not helpful for Combs' defense. Casey?
David described a toxic, suffocating environment ruled by control and fear. He recounted private moments with Cassie, where he begged her to leave but she couldn't. Diddy controlled everything: her home, her money, her music. This wasn't just emotional abuse, it was total captivity. Cassie wasn't in a bad relationship. She was a prisoner.
testifying that exactly what she talked about in her civil suit, in addition to some other things that they were in a house in LA in 2009. Diddy beat Cassie because Cassie wasn't finished allegedly making his food on time, and the next day he came in the room to talk to her and her band member, and he basically told them, allegedly said he told them, don't say anything. What y'all saw up there was passion, and when people say stuff about things like this about me, they end up missing. That is what Dawn is alleging. So the government is like, this is definitely relevant because it'll show that, number one, he was conscious of guilt, conscious of what we're trying to prove is that he knows what he's doing, but he allegedly makes people feel scared so that they will just continue to let him do what he wants to do.
Then came a chilling testimony from Dawn Richards, a former member of Diddy's band. She recalled a terrifying moment when Diddy pulled her aside and warned her not to speak about what he was doing to Cassie. His threat was direct. People who go against me go missing.
It turned out that victim 3, unknown, we don't know who it is, but victim 3 apparently is missing. Just a few weeks ago, victim 3 came forward, or didn't come forward, but said that they were willing to testify in the trial. And though we don't know who it is, it obviously was important to the case because they were going to put victim 3 on the stand. And then just before this all came together and before Diddy took the stand, victim 3 apparently was out of communication and we do not know where they are. My thought immediately went to the girl Allie that is sharing all the salacious stuff. I went and looked her up and she's still posting on TikTok as not her. So I don't know what to make of it. I don't know who victim 3 is. I'm sure we can all come up with some crazy conspiracy theories about what's going on there. Diddy's side is hoping for a mistrial just because they don't have one of their witnesses. That is extremely unlikely, but it is possibly going to cause some delays and it might actually impact the ability to prosecute Diddy. I presume that Diddy is pulling out all the stops, as we've heard reportings of private investigators looking into people and people being pressured or influenced by his family members.
That threat now haunts the case in a new light. Investigative journalist Ian Carroll reported that a third alleged victim, who planned to testify against Diddy, has mysteriously vanished. Her identity was kept private for safety, but now she's simply gone. No contact, no updates, no trace. The timing is chilling.
Whenever these trials come about, the closer you get to the trial date, a lot of things start happening to remove people from the case that are going to strengthen the case for the prosecution. And I feel like we're watching that take place now with one of the male sex worker guys who provided tapes to the feds. He's disappeared. And this is similar to what happened in the Tory Lanez case, where the bodyguard whose DNA was on the weapon, he disappeared. So I expect to see a lot of strange things take place. I expect to see the defense team do a lot of steps to lighten the image of Combs. And we've been watching that take.
Adding to the dread, a former associate known as Big Homie came forward with his own explosive claims. He said disappearances aren't new in Diddy's world. In fact, he claimed one whistleblower with crucial evidence also vanished recently. He warned that what we're seeing is just the beginning, and with a grim tone. He added, things have already started.
See a gentleman like this from affluence and power, whenever they have an addiction to MDMA or the drug ecstasy, they call it the love drug. So he's been doing this drug for over 20 years. So that's gonna lead his view skewed when it comes to sexual activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a sexual deviant. And, what type of man wants to see another man urinate in his wife's mouth? I feel like it's evil. I think his behavior is egregious. And, I have a history of using very heinous acts on people like this who participate in this type of lascivious.
Reflecting on it all, Big Homie didn't hold back. He said when a man like Diddy gains power, fame, and wealth and becomes addicted to control, it changes him. He is evil, Big Homie said flatly. This wasn't about isolated incidents or moral failure. It was about something deeply broken. The mask is off and what's behind it is terrifying.